Howdy folks, welcome to the Saltmine Q&A Discord for June, and the only reason I could remember what month it was because I'm actually looking at the title of the Discord channel. I always do that every month, and I forget what month it is. I have to stop and look at Windows to figure out where we are. But yes, it is in fact the 1st of June, or if you're watching this as Monday's episode of Mingles with Jingles, it's the 2nd of June, and hope you all had a good weekend. Now forget it because it's Monday. This week's episode of Mingles with Jingles, once again, sponsored by Incogni. You might have noticed you're getting an awful lot of spam emails or text messages, or perhaps you're getting some oddly specific advertising that pops up every time you visit your favourite websites. Maybe you suddenly find yourself paying way over the rate of interest for products and services that you've been using for years. None of this is accidental, because there are thousands of data broker companies out there collecting, aggregating and trading your personal data without you know anything about it. The good news is you do have the right to request that these data brokers erase your personal details from their records. The bad news is it would take you years to do it manually, if you even knew where to start, and that's where Incogni comes in. You click a link in the video description or head over to incogni.com/jingles, you get an exclusive 60% off and have Incogni take care of all the heavy lifting for you. Just create an Incogni account, tell them whose data you want removed. That's it. Incogni takes care of the rest. And new, as of April 2025, Incogni have introduced their Unlimited and Family Unlimited plans, extending Incogni's protection not just to yourself, but to your friends and family too. That's click the link in the video description or head over to incogni.com/jingles and use code JINGLES to get 60% off your Incogni plan and take your data off the market. And welcome back from the ad. I suppose we should... Oh, that was something that I had to do. Actually, something I think I was supposed to do about 2 months ago, but it originally got put to me just a little bit too late to make that episode of Mingles with Jingles. I said I'll do it next month, and then because I'm crap, I forgot. But we're going to do it this month. Tank50 US, who regular viewers of Mingles with Jingles or listeners of Mingles with Jingles might recognise as the guy who was doing a restoration project on his M1 Garand, which he has now finished. And he wants to do a bit of a giveaway. And I'm going to let him tell you about it rather than get it wrong myself. And be easy on him because he's not accustomed to public speaking. You know, sitting in front of a microphone or a camera and talking to people isn't as, you know, it comes naturally to some people and it doesn't come naturally to others. But this is basically what it's all about.
Howdy folks, this is Tank50 US. As many of you that have been following the live Q&As know, I've been restoring an M1 Garand. And here she is. And in case you're curious, she pings. Don't worry, that was a shell casing. To celebrate the M1's return to life from her, as me and a friend would like to say, war crimed state, myself and the Salt Mines team have created an art challenge. Starting from the moment this video goes live, you will have a chance to win one of these, the clip and 8, casings. Although they'll probably have a round put in it, but don't worry, won't be live. What will happen is that the casings and the clip will be engraved by myself. That's the prize. Top prize, the clip, 8 cases. 8 runners-up will get a single case. What do you need to do? Well, some of you probably know, I created a Baryonyx character for Jingles. About a year or so ago. Your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is you are to incorporate that character in an art piece. You can use any of Jingles' characters, either the ones that he has shown off in World of Warcraft, or anyone, or any of the ones that he's represented. Only caveat, no AI art. I see some AI art. You're getting stabbed. Anyway, due date is by the next Q&A to have your entries in. Jingles will probably be the judge, and it'll be up to him when the winners are announced. To that end, good luck. Catch you next time.
So what will probably happen is I'll have a word with the Discord mods, and we'll most likely end up creating a competition channel where you can submit your entries. At which point we'll pick a winner, and then hopefully in time for next month's Saltmine Discord Q&A, we'll notify who the winner is. At which point we'll send you details on Attack 50 US, and he can mail you your prize. So the first actual question this month, comes from Basement Jesus. He says, Dear Jingles, there is a somewhat popular podcast over here in the States by the name of Unsubscribe who love to interview veterans and overall just shoot the shit while being a guest. The reason I bring them up is it would be awesome to see you on there, as I know they'd love your naval stories. I think you don't know them, but would you ever consider going on it? Of course, yeah, sure. I don't think I... Oh, hang on. Sweeten the deal, you get to meet your favourite American... Oh, I have seen them. The Fat Electrician, yes. Fat Electrician's awesome. I have seen a couple of episodes of the Unsubscribe podcast. I mean, yeah, sure. I absolutely 100% love to. But they probably have no idea who I am. and why would they? But if they ever ask, yeah, I'm 100% absolutely do it. Although I think they'd probably all gang up on me because they're all ex-army over there, aren't they? Ex-army or ex-marines. I don't think they have any Air Force or Navy. So they would 100, and I wouldn't mind. I'd expect it. I'd be disappointed if they didn't, right? Because I'm Navy, and I don't think they've ever had any Navy on there. Although they might have, I don't know. I've only seen a couple of episodes of the podcast, but yeah, 100%. And the Fat Electrician's incredible. I think he's so funny and knowledgeable, and he's one of my. He's one of the guys I am subscribed to on YouTube. If you haven't seen his stuff, you owe it to yourself. He is really, really good. So yeah, absolutely. If they ever ask. Next question from Yamatog2. Dear Almighty Overlord Jingles, firstly, in response to your question in last week's Mins with Jingles, I have an upcoming game you might not have heard about. It's called Terminator 2D No Fate. It's a retro 2D side-scroller shoot-'em-up adaptation of Terminator 2 Judgment Day in the style of the 90s arcade Super Nintendo games. It's developed for all platforms by Reef Entertainment. This kind of game can... They're not traditionally the sort of thing I have the slightest bit of interest in, because I have no nostalgia when it comes to that kind of game, because I never had a games console growing up. Couldn't afford one. The first gaming system I ever owned was a Commodore Amiga 500, which I bought with the money that I'd saved up from my very first Navy deployment, the first Gulf War. Because I saw a friend who had one when I came back on leave, and he was playing Shadow of the Beast with parallax scrolling, and it was awesome. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. This is what computers can do these days. So I went out and bought one. So I missed that whole thing. So I have no nostalgic attachment to that style of game. However, they can be fiendishly addictive. Games like Vampire Survivors, I don't know if you've seen it. I suspect, given its popularity, many of you probably have, but also many of you probably have absolutely no idea. I don't know what it was that made me give it a try, because normally I don't chase trends and the popular stuff like that. But I for some reason, I think I was watching I was lying in bed one night and doom scrolling through YouTube videos, and for some reason I clicked on somebody talking about Vampire Survivors, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. And it's one of those games where it looks garbage. It looks like early 90s 8-bit console graphics, and it just looks terrible. But the gameplay loop is so addictive. I think it was developed by somebody who did slot machines and one-arm bandits for a living, and you can tell because he knows how to suck you in. It's one of those games where you start playing it, and it's dirt cheap as well, and the replayability on it is just off the charts. Like I said, developed by a guy who made casino machines for a living, and you can tell. And it's one of those games where you start playing, and the next thing you know, it's 4 hours later, and you're starving, and you really need to go to the bathroom. So that type of game, these really sort of retro nostalgia fest graphics. You don't need an RTX 5090 to play it. But it's all about the gameplay rather than the graphics. They can be so addictive. And depending on the price, I might give it a go. I can't see something like that being particularly expensive. And his second question was, if Ghost of Yotai ever comes out on PC, will you do a video series on it? Oh, yeah, 100%. Absolutely. He's talking about the Sucker Punch Studio sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which is in the top 10 best games I have ever played. Absolutely astoundingly good game. It's like Assassin's Creed Shadows, but done right. Just an unbelievably good game. I've played it through once. Actually, I played it through twice. Once on the PS4, and then I played it through again when it came out on the PC. And then I played it again right before Assassin's Creed Shadows came out, just to get myself up to speed with the old feudal Japanese stabbing. And was reminded again of just how astonishingly good that game is and how amazing it looks. And you don't need no modern ray tracing. It doesn't even support ray tracing. It still looks amazing. Sucker Punch went to extreme lengths with their art direction to try to make every single frame of the game, viewed from whatever angle, look like the sort of thing that other games companies would be happy to put up as a screenshot or box cover art. It's like every single frame of that game is a work of art. It just... And it's not just eye candy. The whole game is just amazingly good. As I said before Assassin's Creed Shadows came out, if you absolutely have to get your feudal Japanese samurai / ninja stick on, get Ghost of Tsushima, because it's better and it's cheaper than Assassin's Creed Shadows. And they're doing a sequel, Ghost of Yotai. And if it comes out on PC, I'm in 100%. Absolutely. Sucker Punch know how to make a great game. Anyway, next question from Catster. Morning, Jingles. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Yeah, not too bad, actually. I recently became the owner of a very nice 1983 Citroen 2C V6 Charleston. Wow. And it got me thinking, I actually know what that is, which is pretty impressive as far as cars are concerned, because I know nothing about cars. It got me thinking, well, I know that you don't drive. Are there any cars you would like to have if you did ever get your license, classic or not? I've always loved Jaguars. I mean, the new ones are nice, although they're not really British anymore. I think did BMW buy them out or something? Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the old 1970 Jaguar S-Type, or the E-Type Jag from the 60s. Oh, those cars are just not amazingly reliable because they're British. But, they just look so good. And so very, I don't know, there's just something, a British racing green E-Type Jag convertible. Oh, hideously impractical, but wow, what a car. Also, I'd love a Land Rover. And again, I don't know what it is about Land Rovers. Again, they're not amazingly reliable, but they're very easy to fix. In fact, that's like the Russian definition of reliability, isn't it? It doesn't work flawlessly, but when it does break down, anybody can fix it. So yeah, an E-Type Jag, a British Racing Green E-Type Jag convertible, or a British Army Land Rover, because they're impossible to destroy. They're indestructible. Oh wow. Minor Tree 93 has many questions. Okay. Yes, I'm recording. Yeah, okay, right. Do you have a new cat picture for chat? I think I do, actually. I'll stick that up in the video now, assuming I remember when I'm going back and editing this. Due to how bad the mainstream media has been in recent years, the entire world has decided to let you pick the new news crew. However your choices are, Asmongold and other random gamers talking about the news in a fun way, local or national VTubers for the home region and country, will see an AI script using the voices of Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. Bonus question, which mod on the server deserves a cookie or biscuit the most? Oh, don't make me pick. They're all amazing. Seriously, you don't realise the amount of work the mods do behind the scenes. This place would fall apart without them. So they all get cookies. But yeah, I actually do quite... I don't watch Asmongold's live stream. But I do... You get a lot of Asmongold clips on YouTube where he's talking about a specific topic, and I have yet to disagree with him. He just seems sensible, and he doesn't overreact, he doesn't chase trends, he doesn't sensationalize stuff. He just seems relatable and honest, and so I'd probably pick Asmongold. Next question comes from Bishop. Good day to you, sir. I promise I won't talk about the recording button. I don't know, you forget to record once. Well, okay, maybe 3 or 4 times, and they just won't let you forget about it. It's a thing. You happen to have the same heart issues for the same reasons as me 2 years ago. His question is, was it hard for you to fall asleep the first night you came home from the hospital? Well, yeah, but I don't think that was anything to do with a heart attack. I think that's more to do with being 55, and it just generally becomes harder to sleep the older you get. I never, ever get a full night's sleep. I just don't. As you get older, you start succumbing to, I think they call it the old man piss syndrome, where I'm in bed by midnight, and then I doom scroll YouTube for maybe an hour, and then I fall asleep. So I'm usually asleep by 1 in the morning, and then I'm up again at 3 in the morning because I have to go for a piss. At least once during the night, so I never seem to get more than 4 hours sleep at the most in any one go. And then I've got the cats waking me up by furiously scratching at their litter box. So yeah, just every couple of hours something's waking me up, and then eventually by like 8 I will wake up, and then I'll just snooze for an hour, or I'll doom scroll a bit more YouTube, and then I'll get up and feed the cats, and I'll publish the day's video, and then I'll start getting to work on the next day's video. But I never... If I'm still in bed by 10 o'clock in the morning, and I realise that this is a bit of a first world problem, but I'm never in bed, but still in bed by 10 o'clock in the morning. Because there's just stuff that needs doing, and I have to get up. The cats ain't going to feed themselves, the litter trays ain't going to clean themselves, YouTube videos ain't going to make themselves, emails aren't going to answer themselves. I mean, this isn't news to anybody who works for a living. Everybody goes through this process, but most people do at least get a full night's sleep before going through it all, until you hit the age of 50, and then it all starts going to shit. So yeah, I usually find it hard to fall asleep. I don't think the heart attack had anything to do with it. It's just being 55, unfortunately. Getting old sucks. I don't recommend it. Although I suppose it is better than the alternative. Next question comes from CoolGeek96. He says, good evening, Jingles. I'm visiting Portsmouth this month. Oh, I'm planning on checking out the Royal Navy Museum, the Submarine Museum. I think I remember in a previous Mingles episode you said, yes, yeah, I still live around here, and I used to work around here. My question is, do you have any recommendations on places to eat or any other must-dos? Ooh, okay, places to eat. I'm going to have to, because there is this, it used to be called the Castle Tavern. Let me just check whether or not it's still... Yes, it's still called the Castle Tavern. So this place is, if you go to Portsmouth, you get the ferry from the Gosport ferry. So you come out of like the historic dockyard, and you've got the train station right in front of you, and next to the train station you've got the Gosport ferry. You get the Gosport ferry over to Gosport, and a 1-minute walk from the ferry on the Gosport side, on the right hand side, is this pub called the Castle Tavern. It used to be Gosport's gay bar, but then the owner sold it, and I don't know if it still is. I don't think so. But what they are famous for now is their lunch. If you are turning up on a Sunday, you will need a reservation because they are fully booked. But they do the best English roast Sunday dinner you will get anywhere, and they do it every day of the week. So it doesn't just have to be a Sunday, but you will not go away hungry from this place. But if you are turning up on a Sunday, you need a reservation because they just won't have a space for you. But that would be my recommendation. Get the ferry over to Gosport, pop into the Castle Tavern at lunchtime, and sit yourself down to the best English roast dinner you will have ever had anywhere. Thanks for the question. Next one from Sir Blake. Old Naval Stories, Mingles with Jingles, episode 59. Your last job with the Navy was at the Admiralty Interview Board, where you worked with Tex. Tex didn't understand you could like something while recognising that it was terrible. Yeah, oh, wow, you remember that one. Yeah. So Tex was one of the other guys who worked at the Admiralty Interview Board, and he he was kind of an idiot in more than one way. He wasn't a bad kid. Absolutely 100% not a bad kid. He just wasn't very bright, and he had trouble understanding stuff. He had trouble with the concept that, for example, I didn't particularly like Robbie Williams, the singer, even though I recognised that he was very, very good at what he did. And that just, this blank look of confusion on Tex's face. But you just, how can you, what? Just didn't get it. Didn't understand that you could like something even if you recognised that it wasn't actually that good. Or that you could dislike something even if you recognised that, it was actually good. Like, for example, Celine Dion has an amazing voice. She's an incredibly good singer. I just can't stand her music. To Tex, that would be, what? But you just said she was good. Yeah, but I don't like her. Well, how can you not like her if she's good? He just didn't get it. Right, so that's the guy he's talking about. Moving on to the rest of the question. In Mingles with Jingles episode 187, is there an actual question here? You had Google Maps open showing the places you worked and lived at in Portsmouth. Yep. For example, you showed the exact window you worked at during your time at Flag Officer Training and Recruitment's Finance Directorate. Later on, you showed HMS Nelson Barracks, where the elevators were absolutely... Oh, God, yeah. Does the mighty yeoman know he is the reason that you are the mighty Jingles? So, yeah, this is a bit of a blast from the past. There's no actual question here, I suppose. But no, the mighty yeoman has no idea. The mighty yeoman was the communications yeoman on board HMS Marlborough. So shortly after... what was I doing at the time? I was working at Defiance, which was the fleet maintenance base in Plymouth. I was sort of between drafts, and they sent me to the Squadron Rear Link office, which was basically a commander, a lieutenant commander, and a petty officer writer. And they had no work for me to do. There was absolutely nothing. So what they would do was I would turn up in the morning, make the tea, and then they would send me to one of the ships in the squadron, just as a spare hand to work on board the ships in dockyard undergoing maintenance. And I was on board HMS Marlborough for a couple of weeks, which was all right. It wasn't a bad ship. It was a Type 23 Duke-class frigate. And there was the communications yeoman on board that ship. I can't remember his name, but he was a Scotsman, and he was funny as fuck. And he always referred to himself in third person as the mighty yeoman. You'd be like, you better get that work done or the mighty yeoman will be upset. Except with a Scottish accent. And it was one of those things that resonated. And so many, many years later, in World of Warcraft, I decided that my gnome warlock was going to be known as the Mighty Jingles. Mighty in name only, in fact, extremely crap. So basically just like me. And that's where it came from. And I'm sure, I can't even remember the guy's name, but I'm sure he has no idea. But I do try to credit him, even though I can't remember what his name was, every time somebody brings this up. But that's the whole origin of the whole Mighty Jingles thing. It was because of the communications yeoman on board HMS Marlborough in the 2nd Frigate Squadron of the Royal Navy many, many years ago. Next question from Soggy Sow. How are we doing for time? Oh, not too bad. Let's see. Has anyone ever told you you look a bit like Dan Abnett? I don't think I've actually seen a picture of Dan Abnett. He's a science fiction writer. He writes a lot of the, I think it's the Warhammer Black Library stuff. Sci-fi author, in case you didn't know who he is, and he forgot to attach a photo. So I'm going to have to go and Google Dan Abnett and see whether or not I should be offended. Oh, he says he's put the photo in the Mingles with Jingles channel, so I don't even have to bother doing that. Okay. But no, nobody has, aside from you right now, nobody has ever told me that I look like Dan Abnett. So surely it's Dan Abnett looks like me. Is that... No? Never mind. Okay, whatever. Next question from Dusty. Hello, Jingles. Got a game question for you. Do you think you'll have a gander at Claire Obscure Expedition 33? I've been hearing some astounding things about the game, or is it too far outside of the usual style? Yeah. I probably won't, or I might, but the game won't be relevant by the time I get around to doing it, because I was thinking of it, because people have been raving about it. It's from a tiny development team. Basically a bunch of French developers who used to work at Ubisoft and either got fired during whatever latest round of restructuring they were doing, or just got sick of Ubisoft shit and decided they were going to make games that they wanted to make rather than the games they were being told to make. And this game was Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So the whole idea in this game is, as I understand it, that there's a thing every year that appears and just erases or kills everybody older than a certain age. And one year it turns up and it's everybody older than 33. So, and this happens every year. And not every year they send out an expedition to try to find something that's going to stop it. And then come back the next year and killing everybody who's 32 or older, and then 31 or older. And that's what this game is. And I thought, interesting concept. And then I read further. And it's basically heavily inspired by the Final Fantasy games. Yeah, no. That was a sort of turn off for me. I'm not saying that it's a bad game. It clearly isn't. It's not quite setting the gaming world on fire to the degree that Baldur's Gate 3 did, but it's coming pretty close. There are a bunch of extremely talented developers who have just gotten the opportunity to make something that they actually want to make, because they love the Final Fantasy games. So let's do something like that. And it's typically French, so it's a little bit weird. And it's based on Japanese RPGs, so it's even more weird. But, you know, it's just what some people like, and it's doing extremely well, and it clearly deserves to. But probably not the sort of thing I would enjoy. I'll probably end up getting it to play through summer one year when I'm short of other stuff, and I'll probably end up enjoying it, but it's not the sort of thing that really attracts my attention. But I do recommend, if you like the sound of that sort of thing, give it a shot, because it is apparently really, really good. Next question from Beatsteaks 1989. What are your most and or least played games on your Steam or Epic account? This is Battletech with more than 5.4 thousand hours. Holy shit. Battletech was really good. I'm assuming that was the... we're not talking Mech Warrior. No, Mech Warrior was Piranha Games. Battletech, I think, is the one where you actually control the lance, and it's like hex-based, but it's hidden hex-based. The hexes aren't that obvious. And you upgrade. You basically run a mercenary lance of mechs. Oh, it was a really, really good game. I like that. Very good game. And Tomb Raider with 33 minutes. I've got a bunch of games with like 30 minutes played, where I'll get a bunch of stuff on Steam, and then because it's either... Well, there's very little that's free on Steam, but, you know, you get the summer sale. I've got summer sale games from Steam that I've gotten, and I've never actually gotten around to playing. But I have other games from Steam, and I get like game demos from developers. Usually indie developers will like, have a go at this game, and I have a go, and I think this just isn't very good. Or maybe it's not that it's bad, but there's nothing inspiring about it, and it's not really my sort of thing. And so I play 30 minutes, and then I just never go back. And I don't do a video on it because I'm not going to shit on an indie developer just because I'm not particularly a fan of what it is they're doing. I would rather do a video on something that I like and give some exposure to the indie developer rather than shit all over them, because their life's hard enough anyway. But yeah, I've got a ton of games that I've only played like half an hour of. But for the most, you've caught me a bit flat-footed here, but I'm having a look at Steam. Do you know I've got almost 700 hours in Cyberpunk 2077. There's maybe 120 hours of gameplay in that, even if you do every side quest. But I think I'm on probably 7 or 8 playthroughs. That game, such a good game. You know, and I keep saying I didn't have the issues on launch that everybody else did, because I wasn't playing it on console. And there were some bugs on the PC version. Sometimes the traffic acted a little weird, and occasionally people's arms and legs would disappear and they would kind of just float through the crowd. But there were no game-breaking bugs on PC that I encountered. And it just got better and better and better. And the Phantom Liberty DLC for that game, holy shit, so good. They even turned it into Alien Isolation at one point. Oh, yeah, the less said about that bit, the better. But yeah, that's possibly my most played. Actually, let's have a quick look. I'm just scrolling down my list of titles to the end. W. Warhammer, Wargame. Yeah, War Thunder. 558 hours. Last played November the 9th, 2023. That'll be when I lost access to my account. And Gaijin have been no help whatsoever in getting it back since. So I stopped caring. But yeah, I think around about 1,000 hours is probably the most that I have in any one single game. That would probably be something like Cyberpunk. So, let me see, where are we at? Oh no, Nino's coming back. He's going to start scratching at the screen. Alright, I'm going to have to cut Mingles with Jingles here in order to do a spot of cat removal surgery. Because he will start scratching at the screen and he will eventually damage the monitor, so I'm going to have to do this. I'll be right back after this. And this is the point where I don't know what I'm going to put in. Maybe some cat pictures, maybe a picture of Nino. But I'm going to have to remove him, because otherwise, yeah. Come on, little fella. Yeah, you know what's coming. No, you don't like it. I don't know how much of that you heard. Anyway, cat successfully removed, and we are back. How are we doing for time? Not too bad. So where are we in the questions? Curse says, hope you're doing well, and on top of the recording software this morning, I'll salt my Gnome Overlord. Given your interest in games like Sea Power and Cold Waters, I'm curious if you've seen Task Force Admiral, Volume 1. Oh my god, Nino's coming back. He refuses to pay. He's a strong, independent cat, and he don't need no man. Volume 1, American Carrier Battles. I maybe played the demo, they briefly had it. I've heard of it. Here's the thing. I don't know, because I have played something that sounds an awful lot like this. There was a demo where you controlled a task force and you could... There was a limited sort of interaction, like it played out according to a script, but you could jump to each individual aircraft and ship and so on and view stuff from their perspective. And then I think there was another demo that came out shortly afterwards where you had more control. Is this a Microprose title? Oh. You see, this is the downside of just answering questions off the cuff, because when you're not 100% sure exactly what it is that somebody's talking about, there's lots of opportunity for you to get it wrong. But I think this is the same thing that you were talking about, and I have. If this is the same thing that you're talking about, yes, I've heard of it. I think I've played it, and it is on my radar as something that's kind of interesting, and I will be looking at when it comes out. But it might not be the thing that you're talking about, so I do apologise. Anyway, sorry about that. That's as comprehensive an answer I can give you on that subject, because I'm not entirely sure we're talking about the same game. Next question from Baran Akatsuki. Good morning, Jingles. Hope you're doing great. I am, thank you. I love the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 videos. Oh, I love that game. Keep them coming. In one of the videos you said, beware of old men in an occupation where men don't get old, about a skilled knight. Are there any more such examples of professions or sayings? Oh, that's a good question. Also, have you heard anything about the Cyberpunk 2 announcement, Project Orion? Oh, yes. Although it's just they've announced it, and beyond that, that's all we know. So we're probably at least 3 years away from actually seeing a game. But, I'll be playing the shit out of that when it comes out, because more Cyberpunk? Hell yes. Not set in Night City, apparently, although there's some speculation that it's going to be Chicago. But Mike Pondsmith, who is the guy who actually wrote Cyberpunk, the actual pen and paper RPG, Mike Pondsmith, he's been over to Poland to speak to them. So yeah, there's things happening. It's definitely happening. But anyway, beware of old men and occupation when men don't get old. Any other examples of professions or sayings? Probably, but again, this is one of those things that, yeah, I'm old and crap and my memory isn't great. This is, again, the kind of question. You know what, we're going to turn this one over to Mingles with Jingles on Monday. So, comment section, chat. Can you think of any similar expressions or sayings, such as beware of old men in an occupation where men tend to die young? So let's see those in the comments, because I know that, you actually have time to think about it rather than being put on the spot, as I am here, because nothing leaps to mind. Oh crap. Also, yeah, this is another thing about getting old. You lose track of conversations halfway through, so I'm going to have to edit this bit out and pretend that I just didn't have a brain fart and try to remember where I was and what I was doing in the middle of answering these questions. Again, this is all the shit that you get live when you turn up for the Q&A. Next question from Aeon Kasai. Greetings, Overlord Jingles. Would you be open to going back to previous videos like Home with a Gnome or Workshop Wednesdays? Home with the Gnome. That's actually, it's not just a previous video, it's an actual separate channel, which I still have, but which I don't think I've posted anything in, 3 or 4 years. The thing is, and Workshop Wednesdays as well, I've got, the pile of shame hasn't gotten any smaller, although it hasn't gotten any bigger. The model making pile, that is. I've got all kinds of stuff. I think I've painted one thing in the last 3 years, and that's a little 3D printed resin bust of the Mandalorian. And it's all right. It's not particularly great. I certainly wouldn't make a video out of it. I mean, the resin print is fine. It's just my paint job isn't amazing. I just don't have time. Really just don't have time. In particular, the Home with the Gnome stuff, the cooking. I liked doing the cooking videos, but they were a hell of a lot of work. And to try to make them look professional, they are crazy amounts of work. It's not just... I mean, the sound recording needs to be perfect. Sound is such an underappreciated part of video making. You wouldn't believe. Just sitting in front of a microphone like this without any kind of external worries is simple enough. And even then, I sometimes get it wrong. But when you're trying to record, like you have no idea how much work goes into creating proper quality YouTube cooking videos. If you watch somebody like Binging with Babish, they probably record... For a 20-minute video, they probably recorded 3 hours of just, right, take that again, sound wasn't working, or blah, blah, and so on and so on. It is an astonishing amount of work behind the scenes to get just a 20-minute cooking video out. I just don't have time for it. So, no, probably not going to go back. Maybe. I mean, there might be an occasional one-off. Because I do have the... I mean, I recorded the old Home with the Gnome stuff when I was living at Eddie's place with Eddie's new kitchen, and I've got a better kitchen here. I've certainly got more space, and it's more conducive to recording. So maybe at some point there might be some one-off cooking videos if I've got something special that I'd like to show off. But there is a lot of work that goes into them, and I just don't have the time to do it full time. Next one from Volker802. Good morning, old man. Have you ever played Nier Automata, or however the hell that is actually supposed to be pronounced, or any other works of Yoko Taro? I have played that one, but none of the others. And it was weird. It was good, but it was weird in the way that only Japanese RPGs can be weird. Yeah. And I think we'll move on from there. Very, very good game, but these are the kind of games. And again, as we're saying, it's the reason why I'm not really probably going to give Claire Obscure a chance. Because you either like this sort of thing, or you don't. And I have played a couple of... I mean, what was Death Stranding? Had a go at that. By Hideo Kojima. My God, that thing's weird. It's just a really strange, very weird game. And I enjoyed it despite the weirdness. But, I mean, people play them. The people who play and love these kind of games, these Japanese RPGs, play them and love them, not just because of the art style, which is obviously a huge draw. It's probably what gets people in, probably what gets people's foot in the door in the first place. But they play them because they love that weird, batshit crazy Japanese RPG style, and you either love it or you hate it. And I'm about to disprove what I just said. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. But it's not a draw for me, so I don't play many of them. But I have played a couple, with Nier Automata and Death Stranding being two most notable examples. And Nino's starting to claw at the screen. Nino, no, be a good boy. I'm going to have to stand up and move in again. I'm not going to bother editing this one out. Let's see if I can get away without being swatted at. Because he doesn't like it. Right, we're going to have to start wrapping this up soon. Good question here from Marco. Hello, sir. As you seem to love horror games in the sea. What do you mean, love? Well, okay, yeah. Any chance you're trying Still Wakes the Deep? No chance whatsoever. If you don't know what he's talking about, Still Wakes the Deep, I've watched videos of this, and the voice acting is phenomenal in this game. It is really, really good. You are basically an oil rig worker on an oil rig in the North Sea, and then shit goes down. And you end up playing Alien Isolation with a sort of Call of Cthulhu-esque creature from the deep on board the oil rig. The whole place falls apart, and you end up basically crawling through air vents, being chased by monsters. So no way whatsoever I'm ever going to play that. But it is not an expensive game. It looks and sounds amazing, and if that's the sort of thing that you like, give it a go. It's called Still Wakes the Deep, and it's awesome. The final question, and this one's going to end on a bit of a damp squib, comes from Lemore 2008. What do you think of the World of Tanks situation? Will it get better? Lemore, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have seen a couple of people in the comments of previous videos actually quite recently saying, what do you think about what's going on in World of Tanks? I have absolutely no idea what's going on in World of Tanks. I just do not care about World of Tanks anymore. Take your pick. I actually just Googled the World of Tanks situation. Refers to the ongoing updates, issues, and news surrounding the video game World of Tanks. Oh, the recent Fair Play update, which includes advanced detection and permanent bans for players engaging in rigged battles. Don't know. It sounds like... Oops, excuse me, I just accidentally knocked the microphone. It sounds like something controversial, and if that is the case, absolutely not something I'm going to deliver an off-the-cuff comment on without knowing exactly what it is that I'm talking about, because I'll probably just get it wrong and piss off even more people. But, I mean, World of Tanks is... It's World of Tanks. You know, there's like 15 new premium tanks every month that are basically just reskins of existing stuff, with new pay-to-win game mechanics. It's World of Tanks. I try to stay away from game politics, even though game politics usually has a way of trying to follow me around. But I do try to stay away from it. And honestly, I don't care. World of Tanks is World of Tanks. It is what it is. World of Warships is... it's not quite at that stage yet, although I have no doubt that you give it a few more years, and it probably will. But at least... I think World of Warships... Actually, a couple of years ago, around about the same time that everybody... Well, not everybody, but a huge bunch of community contributors decided, fuck this shit, and bailed, was heading in that direction very, very quickly. And they have kind of pulled back a bit from that. But only because the World of Warships community rebelled against them. The thing you have to remember about game publishers is that they will be exactly as bad as their audience lets them get away with being. And the only reason World of Warships isn't quite as bad as World of Tanks is because the World of Warships community made a fuss and the World of Tanks community almost never does. Although from the sound of things, it sounds like the World of Tanks community might be getting riled up about something now. It's just a question of whether or not they're going to get upset enough to make any difference. And on that bombshell, that's it for the Salt Mine Discord Q&A for June and Monday's episode of Mingles with Jingles. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.